Hey guys, it's simmerrei here, back with another speed build. This time we are building the science lab, science center that you need for the scientist career. I actually already have a renovated version on the gallery that doesn't change the actual structure of the building, so if that's what you're interested in, but just having a better looking interior, then I already have that on the gallery that you can find at Raniella 818. But I already played in that for a long time, so I just wanted something different, and I wanted to create something that has a really weird futuristic structure. I took inspiration that I've seen either in futuristic kind of movies, sci-fi movies, or in general from real life buildings where you can see two buildings being connected by those kind of tunnels. And I think you see that a lot also in hospitals where they have one unit connected to the other one by this corridor that has windows. That was kind of the inspiration for that. And the rest of the building is what I think like a lab would look like, very clinical looking. So I kept the interior very white, gray, black, typical what I feel like you would see in a lab, versus the one that the original lot had, which was gray and green, and it did not scream science to me, so I really wanted to rebuild that. If you have seen my renovated version of FutureSim Labs, then you'll probably see that a lot of those things I kind of took on and put in this build as well when it comes to interior or the lab itself. And also I took inspiration from what the original EA build had, but kind of made it more visually appealing. On this side we're starting to renovate the staff room, kind of the dining area where the staff can chill, even though you really don't have time for that during the science career day. But just in case you don't like using cheats, I put, just something to get food or use the bathroom if your sims need it. But I will actually be redoing it slightly later on because I forgot that I need to add stairs. So yeah, here I finally realized that I didn't add stairs because I wanted so you can access it either from the other unit or from the floor below or upstairs. So I didn't want the sims to have to walk all across the building just to get to the other side. Here on this side is where the main lab would be. I was gonna initially put a lab downstairs as well, but I figured, I'll just make the second floor the main area where your sim would be. Is the lab is there, any kind of items for Sims needs are also there, and the rest of the floors are kind of honestly more for structural design. On first or third floor there isn't anything that important. Like I said, I was kind of taking my inspiration from my previous lab renovation and also a police station that I'm building that you will see a little bit later on, and also from the original EA build. I kind of like that they put the inventors and I think also the microscope behind the glass panels. I thought that kind of seemed very lab appropriate, I would say. And here I am just putting computers outside of the inventor room. I decided I would use these glass tables because I have no idea why they still haven't given us just simple glass shelves. I feel like they have the mesh for it. Why is it so hard to just, make a glass shelf? I'm pretty sure a lot of people like glass shelves. They're very aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. So I just kind of created my own. I did end up flipping them the other way around after a while when I realized that the computers were disappearing, which I think they kind of like conflicted with the shelves being back there. So when I turned them around, there didn't seem to be that problem. But yeah, all of these chemical related items I took from debug menu and I just kind of set them there. I'm gonna clean it up a bit later because it started to seem too cluttered, so it will be much more cleaned up later on. And then also in the main lab room I wanted to put plants, and I wanted to put a lot of plants in this building because a lot of the times you would get the task to water a plant, but the other NPC sims have already done that, so you can never do it. So hopefully if I have them in two different areas, there's more likely a chance that you will be able to do that task. So here I just put a rose, a strawberry, and some herbs, which I believe were the main things that you need for the serums that you need to synthesize. If not, then you can just replant them, but I just already planted some just to make it easier for you if you do download this build. Here we have the chemical analyzers, and I'm just making a platform to put. I actually don't end up putting much on it. It's more for if you want to put your inventions on there, so you can remove it's just like a shelf that you can put your own stuff on it if you want. If you want to kind of leave it at the workplace instead of keeping it in your Sims inventory. And again, kind of put some plant wall there to look like they're taking the plants from there and like analyzing and doing some kind of experiments or using them as ingredients for their serums. So yeah, I just ended up putting just a couple of things on there to show you that, you know, like put your stuff here if you want. So yeah, now I moved back to the staff area where I actually put the sitting area on one side where the kitchen was, because it was kind of an empty space, and I put the dining tables outside because I didn't want there to be like 500 dining tables. This isn't really a restaurant, you know, it's just like you can either sit inside or outside, that's up to you, or the sim, because they kind of choose. But I decided to put down a couple of pieces of exercise equipment. I couldn't remember if you needed to exercise during the workday. I'm pretty sure you didn't, but just in case, I put it down. And later on I changed it again, so you know, don't mind this again, but I just didn't think it looked good with two pieces of equipment, so I just ended up leaving just a treadmill later on because it just looked a little bit too crammed. And I also finally remembered that I actually have to put down a microscope as well, because I completely forgot about that. And here we are using something that I actually did for a build that I'm currently working on, which hopefully I'll release at some point because I'm really excited for that build. But this is just an observatory. Obviously I couldn't open up the roof, it's just like a dome shape, and kind of have to just chill it there. And to be able to delete the inside, I had to put down a little fence and cover it up with the roof. And then, what are the roof things called? Eaves, I think it was? I may be wrong, but it covers up the fence cutout so you can't really see it, so it just looks like it's round. And yes, it does actually work and function just fine. I thought that was cool and appropriate for a science center. In this area, we're building a alien kind of secret lab. It has kind of like locked doors, you can't see through them, unlike all the other doors in the build. So it's like a top secret area. Initially I was gonna completely make like an underground lab and everything being underground, but with the items we have in the Sims, it wouldn't have looked as good as I had imagined, so I just figured let's just build an above ground lab. And so the alien part of the build is on the 3rd floor instead. And I'm just kind of using the light, using the different colors of the lights. I'm kind of creating what you would see like the red and blue lights in hallways for these kind of top secret areas. Also the decontamination area. We are making an enclosure for an alien captive. You obviously don't actually capture aliens during your science workday, but just so you know, keep up the story of it being like a space center, top secret lab or something like that. I just created it. This was also something I had in my renovation. Yeah, so I took also that idea and just incorporated it into my actual rebuild for the science center. And here we are moving on to the main garden area, the greenhouse, you know, so you have more plants to work with in case all the other NPC sims are watering your plants and stuff or harvesting them. This is gonna be really sped up because it's really boring. I'm just placing down a bunch of plants, just covering up the areas around the greenhouse, and then leaving the middle part where your sim can actually walk. And I planted some plants and just you know, just a garden, but the rest is kind of just stuffing the room with plants, so it looks like an actual greenhouse. And here we're moving back to the staff room yet again, and like I said, I'm just changing it to having just one treadmill and putting a plant down. And you can see outside that I actually put down a fishing pond because you do need to fish sometimes, and the nearest pond is super far away. And initially I made kind of like an indoor pool and just put down a fishing sign, and it kind of looked like they may keep mermaids in there or some secret stuff going on, but the fish were kind of like swimming on the outside. Just the mapping of it was too far, so I ended up deleting that and just added an outdoor pond instead. So if you need to fish, it's nearby, it's quick and easy. And here we are building a reception area, just your typical boring reception stuff, and nothing interesting there, except on this side I'm kind of putting down TVs to look maybe like security screens and an extra chair. I don't know, my favorite glass panels, of course. Everything needs to be glass. I love glass. And behind them I put a science sign, which you can see kind of a lot throughout the build, but yeah, I didn't want to put up a bunch of alien signs and stuff and make it look more like a kindergarten or like a preschool or something, because they kind of tend to look a little bit childish. And in this area I had no idea what to do. So it was empty for basically majority of me building this, and then I realized that the original EA build had this kind of like boiler room looking thing, and I was like, oh perfect, I'm just gonna use that to make this pretend maybe control room for the rocket for the rocket outside or the observatory upstairs. And yeah, so that's how I just filled up the space, because I still needed the space for like the structural part of the build. But here we're building, we're putting down the rocket, and I wanted to create this kind of thing that you see around the rockets that hold them up and stuff like that. So if it annoys you, I may actually end up deleting it myself. I'm not sure. I just put it there for now. And I'm putting down some more alien, I think they're called planetariums, right? But initially I just had regular green plants in there, but then I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, it would be perfect to add some alien plants in there. And so I put down just a bunch of the alien plants, and I love the color blue that they give off. I feel like it also matches the rest of the build, because I do have some blue elements with the lights and the water, and just doing some adjustments to the outside of the build just to make it look more cohesive, like it's, you know, not just a random building plopped down in the middle of the desert. And I also added in some more lights in the little planetariums. I want to keep saying planetarium, but it's a planetarium. And I turned them into this aqua blue color, so it illuminates them even more. And here I also had kind of that empty space going on, and so here I put just some regular house plants to look like they're growing some more stuff there, but really it's just like a waste of space kind of thing, you know, just a decoration. And up here, initially I was gonna just leave it blank, and I didn't know what to do with this, but sometimes I just need to come back to it later and when some more inspiration strikes. So I just added some more of that control room looking items, a bunch of pipes and whatever else in the observatory. I just kind of wanted to look like it's blacked out, but that's pretty much it for the build. If you did like this build and you want to download it, you can find it on the Sims 4 gallery at Raniella818 or hashtag simmerrei, or if you just search the title that I will have on the screen or in the description. And I will also leave a tray file for this, because sometimes I do get requests for that, so all of that will be linked in the description box. And if you want to see more videos like this, then please make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!